Tonight, the shocking discovery of a litter of puppies left abandoned in Whyalla, and vandals cause a major blackout in Port Augusta.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Casey Treelaw begins now.
Good evening. The RSPCA has been left heartbroken after 12 puppies were found dumped in Whyalla on Wednesday morning. The shocking act has forced the litter of 3-week-old Staffordshire Terriers to be placed into foster homes for round-the-clock care. John Hunt has more.
It's an act that's left the RSPCA shaking their heads in disgust. 12 3-week-old Staffordshire Terriers are now in foster care after being abandoned by their owners here in Whyalla. The 10 males and 2 females were found dumped at the council's dog and management facility. At just 3 weeks of age, their eyes were barely able to open. They were rushed to a Port Pirie vet before being transferred to Adelaide.
They went directly down to our Lonsdale vet team, and now they've gone on to 3 different foster carers who are doing round-the-clock care with them.
While it's early days, they're responding well and are expected to survive. Ms Fratterman says it's a cruel act, not just for the puppies, but also for their mother.
So she'd be fretting without her babies, of course, as any mother would.
Ironically, the 12 were dumped just metres away from an RSPCA shelter. Ms Fratterman is encouraging people who may not want their dogs anymore to walk those extra steps.
If they'd held on to them for a few more weeks with their mum or surrendered them in with their mum, we would have been able to help them there.
The puppies are currently being fed a special formula that replicates their mother's milk. They'll then be desexed and microchipped, and if all goes to plan, you'll be able to own one in 3 months' time.
Port Lincoln Police have today issued an alert about email scams after a local business was defrauded of a substantial amount of money. The company used an online accounting platform to invoice contractors for payment. Police say the invoice had been tampered with and bank details where the money was going had been changed. The payment being transferred to offshore accounts allegedly set up by scammers. Police recommend updating email passwords regularly and ensuring software and virus protection is enabled. A national memorial service was held in New Zealand today in the wake of the Christchurch massacre, with regional Australia getting on board too. Thousands attending the service, including Prime Minister Scott Morrison, honouring the victims. Flags in Port Lincoln and around the country lowered to half-mast, a mark of mourning and respect for our neighbours. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern receiving a standing ovation as she took to the stage addressing the nation. The memorial marks 2 weeks since the shooting. SA Power Networks was forced to switch off electricity in Port Augusta after vandals caused significant damage to a substation overnight. Police are now investigating the incident, which left homes without power for nearly 2 hours.
It provides Port Augusta West with electricity, but last night it was power off for this substation after it was the target of vandals.
Patrols responded to a call in relation to children throwing rocks in the Bryant Street area, which included the SA Power Networks substation.
The incident occurred just after 6 p.m. Police conducting a nearby search of the site, but were unable to locate the offenders.
On their attendance, the youth had left the area.
A member of the public alerting authorities about the vandals.
They reported that there had been rocks thrown into the substation and they'd heard something breaking.
Upon investigation, crews found a 33,000-volt insulator had been damaged. Repair works were immediately undertaken, forcing power to be switched off to homes between 1:30 and 3 a.m.
Damaging infrastructure is taken very seriously. Obviously, there is a risk to life and there's impact on customers.
The Electricity Act allows for fines of up to $20,000 and 2 years jail for damage of infrastructure. But authorities say the disregard for safety around dangerous environments is the biggest concern.
You don't have to touch the power lines within a substation to be electrocuted.
Electricity can jump quite significant gaps at that sort of voltage.
Police investigations of the incident are continuing. Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The project manager for the Silverton wind farm says the day is coming when the project will be officially completed. The turbines can be spotted all the way from Broken Hill, despite the location of more than 20 kilometres away.
It's blowing in the right direction. The Silverton wind farm is approaching completion.
I appreciate the support provided by those, not just those involved with the construction, but those that have taken an interest in the project.
All 58 turbines are up. Many are in the testing phase, while others are already providing power to the grid.
Hope to have the AMO, or the Australian Energy Market Operator, commissioning process complete and having all of the turbines on the grid.
Construction began in May 2017 and it's expected the site will be fully operational in the coming months.
65 kilometres of road that have been constructed, 32 kilometres of underground cable that have been installed, 23 kilometres of overhead line.
In a breakdown of the numbers, when the wind farm is fully operational, it will produce 780 gigawatt hours of renewable energy. That's enough to power 137,000 average Australian homes, with 10 full jobs created through operations and maintenance.
The next Community Consultative Committee meeting is planned for May. We'd encourage people to come along to that. We provide a bit of an update on the level of generation and what's going on.
Patrick Ryankey, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Public Service Association has praised the state government's decision to make prisons smoke-free by the end of this year. Port Augusta and Port Lincoln will be some of the first facilities to undergo the transition.
A new measure to clear the air in our region's prisons.
We have committed to making all our prisons smoke-free by 2020.
The $6.2 million strategy will be rolled out over the next 4 years in a bid to improve the prison environment for both guards and inmates, offering nicotine patches and counselling services to help manage the effects of addiction.
I've been to a number of the prisons recently and a lot of prisons are keen to do this and get off the cigarettes.
The Public Service Association praising the decision but say it's long overdue.
Smoking was banned in workplaces many years ago, and it should have been introduced into prisons at the same time.
The smoke-free environment will be introduced into Port Augusta in August, with Port Lincoln to follow after. And while the PSA expects it will create problems with inmates,
we have no doubt that there will be incidents into the future.
They say the long-term health benefits far outweigh the short-term teething issues.
Particularly for the workers. I mean, they have been forced to work in smoking environments for decades.
The PSA says the measures used to combat nicotine addiction should also be offered to workers as well as prisoners.
If the governor of the day can afford to stump up money for the inmates, for patches and lozenges, then we'd like to see them certainly assisting the officers.
Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
South Australian Police are appealing to road users to take more responsibility of their actions. The renewed call comes with the state's road toll reaching 30 this week. Police say road users are making fatal errors in judgment.
If you're fatigued, stop. If you're in rural areas, put your seatbelt on. Every one of the collisions that have occurred this year and fatalities on our roads have been preventable.
Superintendent Gray says the road toll reflects the wider community, people aged from 18 to 81. Police will be out in force this week on the lookout for dangerous drivers. Still to come tonight, a Port Lincoln delegation set for the next voyage to Japan, and a brave head shave fulfills a girl's dream of playing international soccer. Hello again. A group of students and teachers in Port Lincoln are getting ready to head off to Japan next month as part of the city's cultural exchange program. 10 students and 4 adults excited to represent the coastal town in their 10-day trip to Maroto.
It's the final farewell before the delegation heads to Japan next month, with students and teachers counting down the days to visit Port Lincoln's sister city.
Amazing. I've heard so much about it from a lot of people and it's just, I'd love to go.
10 students and 4 teachers from across 3 local high schools will be represented in the group. Students getting to experience the culture firsthand, living with international host families.
To be able to, as I say, live in someone's home for 10 days, and you really experience everything that there is.
The delegation jets off next month, flying to Maroto via Sydney. Students say they're excited about the trip, in particular trying the local cuisine.
I heard of a lot about food. I've gotten a lot of recommendations from a few people.
Probably the food and meeting all the people and just trying different things, having fun.
The students rehearsing their welcome dance at last night's meeting. But there was some tough criticism from the parents.
I think he can do better than that, but it's good fun.
The exchange program is an annual event and has been going for 28 years. Paul Lincoln and Maruto signing a friendship agreement in the early 90s.
Since then, so many people have got to experience each other's cultures in an amazing way.
Nathan Rector, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Pirie Regional Council is pushing to establish a joint planning board with Port Augusta and Whyalla. Until 2007, the three councils were all part of the Upper Spencer Gulf Development and Land Use Planning Region. Since then, the councils have operated under 3 separate independent zones, something Port Pirie Mayor Leon Stevens hopes to change.
Because we have such similar facilities and industry around the place that we can actually work together, I see it as a good way going forward.
The creation of a board would help prevent unnecessary duplications of governance structures and minimise additional costs. Broken Hill City Council says locals will soon see what the new Welcome to Broken Hill signs will look like. The winning design was announced last month, but a picture has not yet been released. The Melbourne-based artist who won says he wants to make some touch-ups before the final reveal.
What he was really keen to do was just engage with the Indigenous community or the Aboriginal community and make sure that what he had there wasn't offensive.
Council says the winning design will be released in the next 2 weeks. The artist saying locals will be quite impressed with the final result. Whyalla's Eyre High School has been praised by the head of the SACE board for its vocational education programs. Martin Westwell visiting the school today to get a first-hand look at what makes its Pathways program such a success.
Getting the inside word on what's helping Eyre High School students secure employment. The head of SACE met with former students who've gone through the school's award-nominated Pathway program.
Really keen to come to Edward John High School in order to see what's been going on with the vocational education.
The program partners with TAFE and other local businesses to open doors into job opportunities. Such is its reputation. It was a finalist at last year's Australian Training Awards, and it's also got the support of Mr. Westwell.
Students here are really demonstrating to us what they can do with what they know. And that's what employers care about, that's what universities care about, that's what TAFE cares about.
Deputy Principal Tash Rayson says Pathways is all about offering flexibility to suit what students are looking for.
You can also use the vocational pathways to get straight into university as well, so it just opens up the opportunities for our students.
And while Eyre High is enjoying the attention, the school isn't resting on its laurels this year.
And so we have about 250 students in our VET Pathways programs.
John Hunt, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A head of hair and a heart of gold. A man in the mid-north has shaved his head for a 4th time, with proceeds going to help a girl fulfil her dreams of playing soccer overseas.
Matthew Slattery of Jamestown is no stranger to the shaver. It's his 4th consecutive year taking it all off, and this time it's for a cause close to his heart.
He came up with the idea about doing this for myself, whereas my dad has leukemia, so he wanted to put that in the cause as well.
I think I nearly cried when I hugged him because he was so excited he was going to do it. But yeah.
A friend of the Sims family, Matt, was determined to help out both father and daughter. His proceeds will help out Alicia Sims fulfil her dream of playing soccer in Spain.
So girls across Australia come together and go overseas to play.
I decided to help out Alicia because I know it's going to cost her family quite a fair bit, and of course she is quite young, she's not earning very much.
Matt's grown especially attached to his hair this year. He says it helps him stay warm when working in the walk-in freezer at the Jamestown Foodland.
It's quite nice like this, but it's going to be bloody cold coming to work tomorrow morning.
If you would like to help Alicia make it to Spain, you can donate on the GoFundMe page Matt Shaves for Soccer Star. Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. A group of Broken Hill pool players set to tackle global competition, and we'll have the weekend weather details with Britt. Welcome back. Some of Broken Hill's finest pool players have been selected to travel to Cyprus later this year to represent Australia, and for one local, he's thrilled to play on the international stage for the first time.
For Glenn Williams, a call up to play for Australia was something he never saw coming.
You don't expect these things to happen, especially at my age.
But that's exactly what's happened. After impressing selectors representing New South Wales at the Blackball national titles last month, 62-year-old Glenn, along with a group of other local players, will now head to Cyprus in November to play for Australia in the 2019 Blackball Nations Cup.
There's not a lot of pressure because people probably don't expect us to perform all that well, and we've got some very, very good 8-ball players here in Broken Hill.
In the local squad, Glenn will play in the Masters category, Jake Caruana and Sean Durbridge in the men's B2, Aaron and Reese Williams in men's B1 and Crystal Morton in the ladies. The game of Blackball is very similar to 8-ball, but there's a few rule changes making it more aggressive and tactical. Glenn says they're all very talented on the felt, but some extra practice will be needed.
Play as much 8-ball as we can because they are a very similar game, and just get as much practice in as we can. So it's something that I've never really done much of.
The Broken Hill team is currently seeking local sponsors to help support the trip. Patrick Ryankey, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Good luck to Glenn and his team. And time to take a look at what's happening in the weather this weekend. Here's Britt.
Thanks, Casey. We felt the full force of that cold front today. Port Augusta with a top of 25, Whyalla 23, Port Lincoln 20, Broken Hill 29, Port Pirie 24 and Adelaide 20. Looking to the skies with the cold front moving across the coast this morning, tomorrow a high pressure system will extend from the west to be centred over the Bight on Sunday. On the waters, southerly winds at up to 25 knots with swells at 1.5 metres, and tomorrow's sunrise is due at 7:29 a.m. A cloudy day for Port Augusta tomorrow with a top of just 20 degrees, Whyalla with a possible shower and 19, Port Lincoln the same, Coffin Bay 16, Woodner 20, Corn 19, Broken Hill sunny and 18, Port Pirie with a possible shower 20 degrees, Clare 16, Cleve 18, Kadina 19. Looking ahead now into next week, Port Lincoln with showers continuing on Sunday, a top of 21, back up to 27 on Tuesday. Cleve in the early 20s Sunday and Monday. Woodner cloudy and 22 on Sunday, Monday sunny and 26. Cloud cover for Whyalla on Sunday, 22, Monday 23, but sunny and 29 on Tuesday. A similar pattern for Port Augusta with a top of 23 on Sunday, but also 29 on Tuesday. Kadina, possible showers on Sunday. Port Pirie, a wet weekend, Monday fine and partly cloudy with a top of 25, Clare showers and 19 on Sunday, and maximum temperatures creeping up slightly in Broken Hill, Sunday 21, Monday 23, Tuesday 26. And Casey, that's all from me for this week. I'll see you on Monday.
Thanks for that, Britt. And that's the local news this Friday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.